Братан, не. Он никуда не сядет. Давай с собой.
A Russian Arctic brigade which has been recruiting from prison colonies is reported to have been decimated in Ukrainian attacks on Russian-occupied islands in the Dnipro estuary and Black Sea, suffering as much as 80% casualties. The 80th Arctic Motorized Rifle Brigade was created in 2014 to protect Russian territories bordering Norway and Finland, along a line from Murmansk to the New Siberian Islands. Although it is a specialist Arctic warfare unit, much of the brigade was sent to Ukraine in 2022. Since then, according to relatives, many of its soldiers have been killed or wounded while stationed on islands in the Kherson region. The brigade began recruiting convicts in 2023, apparently after losing scores of men in Ukraine. The Dnipro downstream of Kherson flows around dozens of islands, most notably the strategically located Great Potomkinsky Island, just south of Kherson City. More Russian-held islands are located in the Black Sea along the Gulf of Tendra and the Jarlhatska Gulf. The contested islands include Great Potomkinsky, marked as 1 on this map, the Tendra Spit, 2, Orlov, 3, Jarlhach, 4, and the Kalanchak Islands, 5. Many are nature reserves, but have reportedly been heavily damaged by the Russian occupation. The Ukrainians claimed in January 2023 to have recaptured Great Potomkinsky Island. In August 2023, many Russian casualties were reported from a HIMARS strike on Jarlhach. According to Irina Ivanovna, the mother of one soldier from the brigade who is currently listed as missing, "The drones are buzzing all the time. You can't get there by boat, the fighting is still going on." I called the military unit and was told that 80% of the brigade had been killed or wounded. A boy who served with my son was wounded in the stomach. He says my son stayed there and the other man was hospitalized. How come everyone was walking past my son? Don't we not abandon our own? On 29th April, I was given a document that he was missing. They say that when Kherson is liberated, then they will search these islands. Irina says she was happy when her son volunteered. I told him, "I knew you weren't a coward," but she is worried that she does not know whether he is now alive or dead. However, as she told Sever.Reali, she approves of the special military operation. "We need to finish with these Banderites. They all need to be destroyed so that they don't raise their dragon heads again." Even at the cost of your son's life? What? Would it be better if they came here? Were there not enough of them sitting here? They ran around the city, married our Russian girls, did whatever they wanted. Then they went to their Ukraine. We had Banderovites in Pechora. We had a zone here. She admits that she has never met a Bandera supporter. Irina's own family was severely repressed under Stalin. Her grandfather was shot, and her grandmother was sent to Siberia. Nonetheless, she says the Soviet government was probably justified in doing so. God knows what was going on in 1937. There were probably gangs. The Soviet government wouldn't just send a family to the middle of nowhere. They wouldn't just shoot them. Sergei Romantsov from Severodvinsk was serving a prison sentence for drug offenses when he signed a military contract. He did so against the advice of his family, who told him that he would be safer serving out the remaining 2 years of his sentence. He was sent to the Kherson Islands in April 2024, but disappeared, likely killed, within weeks. His sister Nina says he was appointed a motorman boat pilot. They get into boats at night, go on missions, pick up the wounded. At the end of April, he called and said that he had undergone a baptism of fire, and a week later, he disappeared. He called me and said he was leaving for a mission at night. The last call was on the 1st of May at 23:55. After that, there was no contact. Usually, when he returned from a mission, he would get in touch. At 3 a.m., at 5 a.m. on 1st May, he was still alive. What happened next is unknown. I found out that his boat was hit, either by a shell or a drone. There were survivors. Many were killed. She learned from other men in the brigade that about a month and a half ago they went to the islands to pick up the wounded and dead. There was an opportunity. Now these islands are completely under the control of Ukraine. No one wants to go there. It's certain death. The bodies that were left there will most likely remain there. It's impossible to get there. The casualties on the islands were so high that the men did not have time to get to know each other before they were killed. The last commander lasted a month there. Many guys served only a week. As far as I understand, they were simply sent to be butchered. We are reporting about the infighting in Russian armed forces, and now Russians, Espanola Battalion, were seconds away from firing on Akhmat troops, TikTokers in slippers. Espanola's full statement. 3 days ago, a group of fighters from the Espanola Brigade, who were moving in accordance with combat orders in a column rotation in 2 vehicles to the LBS zone, were blocked by unknown armed men in 4 vehicles. From the cars blocking our column in the Uglagorsk area without license plates. Some had FSB license plates, with illumination reminiscent of either a New Year's tree or a retro disco. Strange bearded men in civilian clothes, some even in slippers, armed with automatic weapons, came pouring out and tried to be cheeky to our fighters, introducing themselves as employees of the Russian National Guard, the military commandant's office, the prosecutor's office, Akhmat, and the investigative committee. They did not provide any documents, and they could not really name the reasons for the attack, but they shouted incoherent threats and insults at the top of their voices, screamed, and in every way provoked the Espanola fighters into conflict. In general, they staged a glorious circus. The reason for the attack, as it later turned out, was a traffic incident that had happened earlier in the vicinity of Pantsir-S, when a Kia, also driving without license plates, cut off Espanola's convoy from the oncoming lane, almost causing an accident. According to the attackers, their car was let through without due respect. While the special forces in slippers were shouting, they were fighting for you, for Russia. At the time of the incident, the Espanola column, we recall, was moving in accordance with the BR to the BZ, the implementation of which was at that moment under threat. From the moment our vehicles were blocked, the fighters of the 88th Brigade acted according to the instructions. They brought their weapons to combat readiness, loaded cartridges into the chambers, left the transport and took up firing positions. They did not succumb to provocations and immediately transmitted the circumstances and location to the Brigade Security Service. In the video above, you can see how the bearded special forces in slippers huddled in a fat herd among the cars, while our guys dispersed and took control of the opponents. The attackers apparently expected that events would take a different turn, and when the threat of a real armed conflict loomed, let us recall that the special forces in slippers initially blocked the Espanola fighters with weapons in their hands. The Espanola commander, in the event of real threats, had previously, back when the brigade was being formed, given the order to open fire to kill. The eldest of these circus performers, who introduced himself as Eunice, Adam's brother, declared that there's nothing to catch here, and boldly leaving a contact number, rushed off with his entire troop.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.